How's it going, my truant people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back on Pokemon Showdown for our final week in the NPL Tryout Tournament. Unfortunately, as you guys, if you've been following the tournament so far, will already know we have not cut for brackets. There's no chance of us doing that. Currently, we are sitting at 3-1 as our overall record. If I'm squinting a lot, I apologise. The setup in this room is horrible, and I want to change it around, just haven't had a chance yet. So the sun's in my eyes and stuff, and the lighting's horrible. So I apologise for the squinting, but... And I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm going to struggle to read. But who cares? We're going to do this anyway. This is the final week in the NPL tryouts, and this game was supposed to be against someone called Daly. Unfortunately, my original opponent had to drop from the league. I'm not quite sure why or what happened there. But regardless, going into this last game, we're really just playing for pride here and really trying to show that we can play despite going 3-1 in this tournament. I don't want to go 1-3, I should say. I don't want to go 1-4. I don't want to win one game and 4 losses. That'd be terrible. So I've got to give a huge shout out to Richard, our opponent today. Because Richard is one of the mods in the NPL, and he has basically stepped in for my opponent that dropped so that I could have a last game to showcase. He's not trying out for the NPL or anything, but he just appreciated that those few coaches that were affected by dropouts and stuff wanted to play their last games to show what they could do still. He appreciated that and so stepped in and played these games even though they didn't help him in any way. So huge shout out to Richard, massive thank you to him. He's one of the nicest people I've met in this community, and I'm actually really happy that we got to have our final battle against him. However, one thing I should say about this is that because of the dropout of the other coach, this game was scheduled for like about a week ago now, and so my memory of the build is a little bit hazy. My memory of the battle is very fresh, but the build is a little bit hazy. So I'm going to do my best to tell you why we built certain sets that we built. Shout out to the squad as always that helped me build. But yeah, let's get into this. So we've got Mega Medicham, Mandibuzz, Empoleon, Chandelure, Z Jolteon, Heracross, Z Dragonite, Weezing, Slowking, Staraptor, Torterra, and Golem to prep for. Obviously, major threats: Mega Medicham, Chandelure, Jolteon, Dragonite, Heracross. These are all Staraptor, massive offensive threats, with things like Mandibuzz, Empoleon, Weezing, giving Slowking, giving a nice bulky core. I actually really respect this draft. And though my opponent before he dropped hadn't done very well with it, I do think it's a powerful draft and something that we had to be careful of and prep carefully for if we wanted to try and pick up a win in this final game. So, with that in mind, this is the team we built. This is a bulky, physically defensive Rotom Wash with Hydro Pump, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Ice, and Volt Switch. The reason being that if you kind of look at this team again, it's a really good switch into things like the Staraptor and the Dragonite potentially. Setup Dragonite, for example, is something that I've been swept by before. I don't want to get swept by it again. So we have the Hidden Power Ice for that. We have the Thunderbolt for the Staraptor. Volt Switch gives us some nice momentum. I do not like this. Let's not have that. Let's find a different... Let's go back to our normal playlist. I thought we'd try a different playlist for today. Not feeling that. I don't like it when people are talking in the background and me talking. It puts me off. So anyway, we've got Hidden Power Ice for the Dragonite, Thunderbolt for the Staraptor, and this is just mainly our physically defensive check. It can even switch in on things like Heracross if need be, depending on what Heracross is locked into at least. And then Volt Switch out for momentum, assuming Heracross is Scarf. Obviously, if it's a Gertz Flame Orb Heracross, we just have to kill that thing. Like, you just have to play offensive against that thing because it's just so terrifying. You pretty much have to just get damage on it any way you can because nothing really switches into a Gertz Heracross. But a lot of things can outspeed it, so we can deal with it that way. So this is our boot set. Really happy that Rotom Wash is going to be featured in this last game, because so far it's only been in one game and it just got sacked, if I'm remembering right. So really happy to have Rotom Wash here as a good kind of defensive check in this game to do a little bit more than its last appearance. Next up, we have Nico, our Serena. Yeah, again, like last week, we have a Choice Scarf set. I just think it really matched up nicely here. Choice Scarf U-turn with Power Whip, Knockoff, Rapid Spin. And the reason being... Oh, that's the wrong window I want to open. This is the window I want to open. We can Rapid Spin away hazards, which is really nice, of course. Because I definitely want to keep my own hazards up for things like the Chandelure, but particularly the Dragonite. I don't really want to be defogging, because I want to try and keep the pressure on that Dragonite with the rocks. So I think the Rapid Spin was useful in this game. What's more, he also doesn't have great switch-ins to Power Whip. His Steel type is part Water. Chandelure is always going to fear a knockoff from this thing. And Slowking obviously gets pressured by this as well. Weezing is probably his best switch-in, but Weezing I switch in okay too with a number of things, so I'm not too worried about Weezing as his main kind of switch into this. Power Whip will hit the rest of his team really hard. Knockoff is pretty spammable against his team, especially with that Heracross in mind. If I can get rid of its Flame Orb, or if I can get rid of its Choice Scarf, then that really neuters any Heracross set, which would be awesome. U-turn just for momentum, and of course Rapid Spin, as I said, to get rid of hazards. And then we have Checkmate the Kecleon. Checkmate Ben himself was adamant that I should bring Kecleon in this game. Now, he wanted me to bring an AV set. I didn't want to bring an AV set because I wanted reliable recovery, and I also wanted this to be my rocker. I didn't want to have to bring Bronzong. I didn't want to have to bring Doug Trio to this game. So this was my third rocker on the draft, and I was like, I really want Kecleon to be rocks in this game, so I can't be AV, I'm afraid. So I've gone with a max speed def, max HP set, which Ben was not a fan of, but sometimes you have to compromise. Shadow Sneak here can hit things like the Mega Medicham, and if my opponent doesn't read that, then we might be able to give him some crash damage from high jump kick, if that's what he goes for. It also can take on a Scarf Heracross with Shadow Sneak if he locks into close combat, which is amazing, and force that to switch out. We can get knockoff off on a lot of things that we can kind of get rid of their item, which is really, really cool. Things like the Empoleon that otherwise would just wall this set and defog away the rocks that we would be trying to get up. We can knock off this item, and that might just be useful. Getting rid of its passive recovery can be really important on like a leftovers Empoleon or even a resist berry Empoleon. Next up we have Recover and Stealth Rock, as I say, just for longevity, and the main idea of this set is to try and take on the Chandelure, which is why we also have the Knockoff and the Sneak. Knockoff into Sneak will probably kill a Chandelure, so that's really, really nice. We shouldn't have to take too much damage, and we can recover off on it. This is our main Chandelure check because Boots has been forced into a physically defensive role. We really needed something that could take on a specially defensive role against that Chandelure. Next up we have Dean, our Gardevoir, with Moonblast, Psychic, Taunt, Healing Wish. The Taunt is there for the Empoleon that switches in on us every time with Moonblast and Psychic, but this way I can taunt it so it can't get rocks up and it can't defog on me, which I think is awesome. Healing Wish is to try and get in one of my sweepers or to recover something that I need, one of my defensive checks back at a higher amount of health. Something like Serena, for example, that doesn't have recovery itself in this game might be important to Healing Wish it back up. Even Boots that doesn't have recovery, I could see that being very important to get Healing Wish back up, so that's the kind of thinking with Dean here. And then Moonblast Psychic is just really nice dual stab to hit most of his team, barring that Empoleon, really. He doesn't have a lot else, and if he thinks like we're going to be a Scarf set or something like that, and goes into the Weezing, we might then be able to catch him with a Psychic. You never know, depends what calcs he's running and stuff. But the reason we are max physically defensive is so that we can take on that Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham is just a huge problem for my team without this. But this thing with leftovers, we can switch on a Mega Medicham 3 or 4 times and be okay. And force him out. And we should be able to, as I say, this always brings in the Empoleon, which we can just then taunt. Which gives me a free switch back into something offensive, which I really, really like. So that's the kind of thinking with this set, is to switch on Mega Medicham, bring in the Empoleon, taunt it, and then get out into something else more offensive. Specifically this, because Metro comes in on Empoleon really easily. If it's running like Flash Cannon or Scold, either of its dual stabs, then Metro comes in for free. Let's say it has Defog Roost as its other 2 moves, Defog Stealth Rock, sorry, as its other 2 moves, then Metro really just comes in on Empoleon every time after a taunt, and we gain momentum, and we get to just click Hydro Pump or Secret Sword, and he doesn't have good switch-ins to Keldeo at all if we look back at his draft. You know, Mandibuzz doesn't want to take a Splash boosted Hydro Pump, Splash Plate boosted Hydro Pump. Chandelure obviously could switch on a Secret Sword, but fears the Hydro Pump. Empoleon fears the Secret Sword. Mega Medicham fears the Hydro Pump. Jolteon fears both. Heracross won't take a Hydro Pump. Dragonite doesn't really want an Icy Wind or particularly a Hydro Pump. Certainly after Rocks breaking its mode scale, it's going to be in a bit of a sticky situation. Weezing doesn't like anything on the special side, so it won't like a Hydro Pump. Slowking is really his main switching, and that's really crucial. Why we have Toxic on this set is really here to bait in that Slowking and get a Toxic off on it for the final Mon, which I'll go into now. Our last Mon being Keanu Reeves, and this is our kind of dedicated breaker slash sweeper in this game. If we can't sweep with it, I want to at least kind of get 3 or 4 Mons down with it so that we can then just pick off the rest at the end of the game. We are an agility, adaptability set with Tri-Attack for that powerful stab. Thunderbolt with the Electrium Z to kill either the Slowking, which is the only thing really that I don't just instantly break after Rocks, and a little bit of chip with Keanu Reeves here. So we can really break that Slowking with the Electrium Z's Thunderbolt if it's got a Toxic on it. That's the kind of thing is, alright, bait it in, get a Toxic, then we can really kind of break it after Rocks and Toxic damage and everything else. Dark Pulse is on there. The reason I haven't gone with Dark EMC Dark Pulse, by the way, is because we could also hit the Empoleon if that's the other thing that we need to break with the Electrium Z. Dark Pulse will take out Chandelure after Rocks anyway, so I didn't feel like we needed to. I thought it was more useful to have the double option of the Thunderbolt there. And agility, as I say, just makes us faster than everything else. Because we are kind of allowed a lot of bulk in this, we can really take like Fake Out and Bullet Punches from Mega Medicham pretty well. I think Fake Out is a role to be a 3-8 KO and a pretty unlikely role without any chip. So we can definitely, like, he'll have to just keep sacking things if that's his only check to my Porygon Z. And he doesn't have a lot of other priority on his team, so I'm really, really happy with the build here, and I think that Keanu Reeves can do a lot of work in this game. So with all that being said, guys, let's jump into battle and see exactly how we got on. So here we are in the battle, guys, and you can see what Richard chose to bring. It is worth bearing in mind that Richard didn't draft this team. Like I said, he is covering for somebody else, so this wasn't his draft. So I don't really know anything about his playstyle. I haven't been able to really see him play anything. I just know he's a really super nice guy, and that's about it. So going into this game, I don't know how comfortable he is with the team or anything like that, but this is a team he decides to bring, and I noticed instantly, team preview, no Slow King, which is amazing for Porygon Z. Porygon Z, really, if we can get rocks up, just plows through this whole team. I outspeed Scarf Staraptor, I outspeed Scarf Heracross. I'm going to take out the Mandibuzz as well with the Z Thunderbolt if I need to. I can take out the Empoleon with the Z Thunderbolt. Try attack plus Dark Pulse because everything else on this team after rocks. So I'm really looking at it like if I can get rocks up and keep them up, and if I can kind of get Porygon Z positioned, then I'm in an awesome shape. Looking at it though, I need to be very careful on what I set up on. I can set up on something that if I know it's a choice locked Chandelure, but I don't know if it is going to be choice locked. It wouldn't make a lot of sense because I do have double normal type on my team for it to be choice locked. But if it is choiced into Shadow Ball, then I can set up on that. I can set up on the Mandibuzz more than likely, and I can set up on the Empoleon more than likely. So they're the three things that I'm looking at, like potential setups, specifically the last two, the Empoleon and the Mandibuzz as being the main setup. One of the most important things for me to check defensively is the Heracross. So what I'm actually going to decide to lead with here is Serena, which might seem really odd, but if you look at his team, I think Serena probably baits in the Heracross to some extent. Could go into Mandibuzz, could go into Staraptor, could go into Empoleon. Any of those things kind of work. But they don't really want to take a Power Whip that much, and Mandibuzz might fear the Toxic. So I feel like Heracross could potentially be baited in by Serena, so I want to kind of lead off with that and just go for the knockoff, because like I said, my priority in this game is trying to get rid of this thing's item. And you could also risk it and go into the Chandelure, but then I'll get rid of that. Knockoff actually would have hit that thing really hard anyway. So with that in mind, we're going to kind of lead with Serena. And he actually leads with the Staraptor. This is bad because this could easily be Scarfed and just take me out. So I'm going to go hard into Rotom Wash and see what this thing wants to do. And he actually just pops off the final Gambit here, which sucks so bad. Boots has come to his second game and got bopped again. So I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, I feel so bad for our little Rotom Wash. He just got sacked in both games. But I didn't expect that. It was cool, and he definitely helps him a lot because that's one of my kind of physical counters gone now. So his physical breakers in Heracross and Mega Medicham are looking really dangerous in this game now. I have to be careful how I play it. So with the double down, I decided to go into Keldeo because nothing on his team naturally outspeeds Keldeo. The only bad thing that he could go into would be Medicham. And then I have my switch in Gardevoir anyway, which I can try and pivot around, and then that might bring in Empoleon, and we try and break from there. So I felt like Keldeo was a pretty safe switch against most of his team. And it actually definitely is. We can fire off a big Hydro Pump here. Fortunately, we miss. That's the nature of Hydro Pump. You're never going to hear me complaining too much about that. And we're going to pop off a Toxic onto this Mandibuzz as he just goes for the U-turn. I didn't think he'd go for the Brave Bird here. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense. So I just thought that I'd go for the Toxic. I didn't even sure if he'd have Brave Bird, to be honest. I didn't think it was that likely. And here we can go hard into our Gardevoir on the Mega Medicham as he pops off the Ice Punch. And I'm like, oh, damn, that's cool tech. And he went for that straight into the Keldeo, which tells me that he expects my Serena to be the Mega Medicham check. The fact that he was going for the hard Ice Punch means that he probably thought I was trying to predict a Fake Out, which tells me that he probably actually has Fake Out as well. So it's worth bearing that in mind later in the game because I might be able to play around that a little bit. As he goes for that, and that Ice Punch does do a chunk to our Gardevoir, but I'm just going to fire off the Moonblast. There's no reason for me to overpredict. He might just want to go for an attack here. And this Empoleon coming in is exactly what I want to do because it means I can taunt it. And now he can't really touch my... as he actually goes for the Toxic there, not the rocks or anything else. But it means now he can't really touch my Keldeo. So Keldeo, once again, is free. And if I can get Keldeo inside as many times as possible in this game, it just puts a humongous amount of offensive pressure on him. Here, I believe I go for the Hydro Pump again. Not thinking that he'd want to sack this because then he just loses any kind of Gardevoir switch in. And I want to try and connect on this Mandibuzz. And we do a decent chunk there with 38%, which shows me that this thing is absolute max Spadef Mandibuzz. So that's why he didn't bring the Nidoking. The Nidoking? I don't even know where that came from. The Slow King. Oh, that's why it's King. He didn't bring the Slow King because he thought he could handle this with a Spadef Mandibuzz. But because we did get the Toxic on that Mandibuzz last time, putting it on the timer, we're really going to wear that thing down. And I just want to go over this turn again. The fact that he didn't go for the Brave Bird last time made me feel a little bit more brave to stay in here in Secret Sword. I'm starting to think that he just wants to get the U-turn on this, which a lot of good Mandibuzz players would want to do anyway. So I'm not surprised. And the reason I go for the Secret Sword over the Hydro Pump is because, one, I want to get guaranteed damage on it, and two, if for some reason he has Brave Bird here, I don't actually want this thing to die. I want to make sure it stays around so that Porygon Z can set up on it, because this thing's looking like it's going to be like U-turn, defog, maybe foul play, and then probably Roost. So it doesn't look like it even has Toxic, for example. It's Toxic to Porygon Z. So I really want to keep this thing healthy, but low, so that Porygon Z can set up on it. So we just go for the Secret Sword as he U-turns out. And that's fine because, again, he doesn't really have great switches to this. He goes into the Mega Medicham, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I think he's going to go for the Fake Out, but let's scout to see if he has it. He should go for the Fake Out because I do outspeed him. So it's very risky play if he isn't going for that. And he does have the Fake Out, but it doesn't do much to Gardevoir, and I'm happy just to go into Gardevoir and scout for it. I don't want to risk Serena on the Ice Punch just yet. We know now that he has Fake Out and that he is going to probably use it on the Keldeo moving forwards. Here I'm just going to fire off a big Power Whip. It doesn't look like he wants to risk his Heracross in this game, the way things are panning out to me, so I don't think it's worth trying to bait it in and going for the knockoff. So I'm just going to keep spamming Power Whip. He knows that we're probably Scarfed, and Heracross can come in, and we still do a good chunk, so that's why it's like it's not really worth going for too much else there. And we go into Gardevoir on this Heracross anyway and see exactly what he wants to do. As he actually reveals the Aerial Ace, not risking missing the Mega Horn makes a lot of sense. So he actually just goes for the Aerial Ace, which we eat that up, and it brings in the Empoleon again. And I'm like, that's fine, because you've already seen, we can kind of rinse, cycle, repeat on this thing. It's not doing a lot to me. We're in really good shape. Here I expect him just to go hard for the Scold, having seen that we already have Taunt. And that's exactly what he does, which makes Nico very free. And here I believe I go for the knockoff, hoping that he'd go back into the Heracross. He's already shown me once that that's the switch in, and I would like to try and hit that with... actually, man, I think we just... yeah, we do knockoff. And I want to try and get rid of that thing's item, because obviously we saw from the trace and the fact that he was Aerial Ace with no Flame Orb that he is a Scarf Moxie set. So I really, looking at that Scarf Moxie Heracross on my team, it can potentially sweep through me if I'm not careful. If I'm not careful, depending on what he locks into. So I was really hoping we'd be able to get that there, but instead he goes into Mandibuzz, and now I'm like, oh no, I don't want to kill Mandibuzz. I need this thing around Porygon Z, so I'm going to go hard into Keldeo, knowing he can't really touch Keldeo, hoping he'd just go for a Roost, and that's exactly what he does. And I'm like, thank you, he kept his Mandibuzz healthy. Here I'm just going to go for the Secret Sword. I'm thinking you probably want to keep Mandibuzz around, or U-turn. And he actually goes for the knockoff, and I'm like, no, Richard, that's not what's supposed to happen. You weren't supposed to let the Mandibuzz go down, as he just sacks the Mandibuzz for my Keldeo. I completely get the play. He was really struggling to handle switching into Keldeo, and I'm like, damn it, now I'm in a tricky position because I need to set up on this Empoleon. I go hard into the Serena on what now looks definitely like a Fake Out. He's already shown me once. He's got to Fake Out the Keldeo. So we go hard into Serena, abuse our Queenly Majesty, and we just go for a knockoff here. I thought that he wouldn't stay in, so I didn't go for Power Whip. I thought he would probably go Heracross again, or even into the Empoleon. But if I can get Empoleon down a little bit lower, then Thunderbolt guarantees to kill from Porygon Z, because this is looking like Spadef Empoleon. So I'm a little bit like, okay, knockoff is fine either way. I don't think he'll stay in. He does stay in, so we don't do a lot with the knockoff, but it's a little bit chip. It's something. It's not the end of the world. And here we're just going to go back into Gardevoir for free, which is the other benefit of that. And we can fire off another Moonblast. Now, the reason that I wanted Gardevoir in for free there, as well as the kind of other benefit, is because I need to set up on this Empoleon one way or another. I can't set up on the Chandelure, or I can't risk setting up on the Chandelure with Porygon Z, because I don't know if this thing's choice locked and it's ever going to get choiced into Shadow Ball. Dean is so low that he might just choice lock into Fire Blast anyway. What's more, I can't set up on the Heracross, and I can't set up on the Mega Medicham, so I'm like, I need to find a way of setting up this Empoleon. I'm not going to be able to switch into Medicham anymore with Dean. It's not going to take 2 Ice Punches from this thing, and I don't have the Serena to come in on the Fake Out anymore. So I'm really looking at his team like, okay, my switch-ins are limited, my setup possibilities are limited, it's now, this is the time. So what I should have done here is I should have taunted the Empoleon, but I decided that actually, if I taunt the Empoleon, it might be too obvious, and he might just switch out for momentum, because what I've shown him a few times is that I will taunt his Empoleon, and then I'll go hard Keldeo, and my fear is that I taunt the Empoleon, he might just go straight into Mega Medicham next turn. So rather than taunting it, I'm just going to go for the Healing Wish here. It does put me in a difficult situation, because if he stays in, which he should do, I'm going to go into my Porygon Z, and it's obvious that I'm setting up, because Porygon Z was at full health. Why else would you bring Porygon Z in on an Empoleon? And actually, with the next return of leftovers, he's going to be out of range of a regular Thunderbolt, which sucks. So I am going to have to pop my Z Thunderbolt. But what this means is he can go for a Scald or a Toxic here, and he does go for Toxic, and he does land. So now I'm on a timer. And it's not ideal. Porygon Z doesn't look like it's going to be able to sweep in this game, but it does look like it's going to be able to break. And I'm looking at Kecleon with Shadow Sneak in the back, thinking if I play it right, I can just win this game with that. So And also, Keldeo outspeeds all the rest of his team apart from Scarf Heracross. So, depending on what he chooses to sack to Porygon Z can really change how I play this endgame. But I am in a position where I think I can win in this endgame. So we're just going to go for the Z Thunderbolt here. He hasn't shown that he has Protect, but just in case he has Protect, this will put him in range of a normal Thunderbolt. And a regular Thunderbolt isn't guaranteed to kill here anyway. So we might as well pop the Z and we should be able to kill him. Now, to me, he has two choices here. He can either go into Chandelure, and he guarantees to take a Dark Pulse. At full health, he guarantees to live a Dark Pulse. So that's not a problem, or a Shadow Ball. Or he can go to Medicham. He can go for Fake Out, Chip, and then sack something else. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, actually, if all he has left is the Heracross and the Medicham, Kecleon with Shadow Sneak looks really, really good in that matchup, or even Knockoff to get rid of the Scarf, which then makes Keldeo look really, really good in that matchup. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, all I have to do is break this Chandelure, and we can potentially just win from here. So we just fire off the Dark Pulse. As I say, it's never going to kill, but it does put him really low. And if we got the flinch, then that would have been amazing as well. You know, we might have just been able to break another one of his mons there with a flinch. We're just going to fire off the Thunderbolt in case he wants to go into the Heracross on the Dark Pulse. We're not going to allow that. I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt. It guarantees to kill the Chandelure anyway. And now I'm going to go into Checkmate our Kecleon. And the reason for this is because I think if he goes into Mega Medicham predicting the Keldeo to try and get Fake Out, Chip, and whatever else, then that's fine, because what I can just do is I can just Shadow Sneak. He should just go for Fake Out, and then he'll probably go for High Jump Kick, and I can Shadow Sneak on him. I think most people, when they see Kecleon, are more likely to suspect Sucker Punch than Shadow Sneak, so it is difficult, and I am forcing some 50-50s, but instead he goes into Heracross. And here I'm like, okay, from his point of view, Scarf, Close Combat just sweeps it. He's got to be thinking that. That's why he's got into this thing rather than Mega Medicham, because he's thinking to himself, I can just win with Scarf Close Combat. Which to me means that I can go for the Shadow Sneak. And if he goes for Knockoff here, I'm in a bad situation. I have to be very careful. I mean, Keldeo should live one, but then he can sack the Mega Medicham to my Hydro Pump, come back in with Scarf Heracross, and try and kill me with a Close Combat. So I'm not in great shape either way. My best play is just to Shadow Sneak and hope that he's going for the Close Combat sweep here and force him out. And Shadow Sneak does a decent amount here. 19%, it's a nice little bit of chip, as he actually does lock into the Close Combat. And I'm like, perfect, that's what I thought would happen. Now we really do have him in a checkmate position. Perfect that this nickname panned out like that, because he can't take two Shadow Sneaks from Kecleon on his Mega Medicham. All he can hit me with there is the Bullet Punch. And we are able to sneak down the Mega Medicham. And now he goes back into Heracross, and we are going to be able to hit him with a, well, I had two choices there. I could have gone for Shadow Sneak for Chip, but my fear was that, well, I just didn't really need to, actually, to be honest with you. The only way he killed me as a Ghost type, because we resisted the Bug Stab if you went for a Mega Horn there. And if I click Knockoff, which is exactly what I was going for, and we get rid of his Scarf, if we live one, and we live any one hit apart from Knockoff, right? And if he goes for Knockoff, then Keldeo guarantees to live it. So we're really in a position where we force him, by going for the Knockoff there, to either go for a move that kills me as Kecleon, but Keldeo lives, or we allow him to, or he allows me to knock off his Scarf if he goes for anything else, which then means Keldeo outspeeds and kills him. So we really do have him in a checkmate position here by going for Knockoff. Probably the only play that might have won him the game here is as he went into Medicham with this first sneak. If he'd gone for, if he'd gone out into Heracross here instead of bullet punching, taken the second sneak, then gone for the knockoff, brought out my Keldeo, I would have had to Hydro Pump as he had then sacked his Mega Medicham, and then maybe could have come back in with Heracross and close combated me. It would have been very tense. There could have been some doubles I could have made. It would have been very intense in that late game. But we're just basically really pressuring him into a very difficult position where it doesn't look like he can really win. Especially because Heracross doesn't really want to take two Shadow Sneaks anyway. As you've seen, it did 19%. So we were just really putting him in a difficult position where we probably would have killed if he tried to double into Heracross anyway. It might have been a damage roll, but that might have been his only out to try and win the game. Either way, the +1 knockoff here isn't going to kill Keldeo. Hydro Pump will guaranteed kill from this range, but I'm not going to go for it. I'd make the safer play, and instead I just take the knockoff, knowing I can take one. I fire off an Icy Wind, slowing him down, so now he's guaranteed slower than me, and now I can kill him with the Sacred Sword. The reason I did that was because if we'd gone for the Hydro Pump and we'd missed, as you saw there, knockoff did about 20% to us. So if we just carried on fishing for the Hydro Pumps, it really wasn't worth it to my mind. When I could definitely slow him down with the Icy Wind and then definitely kill with Secret Sword, just made a lot more sense to me. So that's how we chose to play that endgame there. And we do manage to pick up the 1-0 win in what was a really intense, tight game. I hope I managed to explain that end game right, because there was a lot going on there in that end game. We had to play a little bit hasty with our Porygon Z, hastier than I wanted to, and we didn't get as many kills with it as I would have liked, but that was just because of the way the battle panned out. That happens sometimes. The things that I wanted to set up on just weren't here, unfortunately, so that's Pokemon, that's how it goes. But we do manage to pick up our second win of the NPL Tryout Tournament. That means that we finish up 2-3 in this tournament, 2 wins, 3 losses. I was kind of targeting 3-2 before the tournament. That was my goal. I thought it was a 6-game tournament and I wanted to break even with 3-3. And then when I found out it wasn't, I was like, okay, well, we'll target 3-2. And if we end up 2-3, I'll be disappointed, but it'll be okay, and I do feel okay with this. Our game against Bash, you guys might remember the Komodo living on 1%. It wasn't a roll, but just the fact it only lived on 1%. We were 1% off potentially winning a 3rd game, so I really don't feel too bad about this tournament. I feel like I played badly against Kraken Nation, and I played badly against Ultra Player. But the other 3 games, I feel like I played well, and I gave a good account of myself, and that's what we were here to do. I think we gave a good account of the Bowland Bovines, and I really, really enjoyed it. That's the thing, and I've met some brilliant people in the community as well. So that to me is the joy of draft leagues, right? It's joining these communities, it's getting to meet these fantastic people, and it's getting to create content for you guys that I hope you enjoy. So I know that I've enjoyed the NPL and I've been overwhelmed by the support you guys have shown for it. So if you guys have enjoyed it too, please do let me know down in the comment section. Hopefully we can make the main league. You guys have shown some brilliant support on the channel. You've done everything you can do to try and get us there. We'll just have to wait and see if we can make minors. Hopefully, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on now. Thank you so much for loafing around me, guys, and I'll catch you again next time.